Welcome to the Fantasy Football Press Box with your hosts, Scott Fitzgerald and Sean Clemens.
What is up, everybody? Happy Christmas, Merry New Year. Welcome to the holidays and the Fantasy Football Playoffs. My name is Trader Clem, a.k.a. Sean. You know my co-host, Scott, a.k.a. Run the Hurry Up. How are you today, my friend?
I'm doing great. We got week 16 coming up. That should be the semis in most fantasy playoffs. And did okay. Had some teams get knocked out with the last two drive there for a touchdown. But then I also hung on to some too. So how about yourself?
Kind of the same, about 50-50. You know, I had 7 leagues that I didn't have a buy-in that were in the playoffs that we're currently playing. And out of them, I think I made it through in 4. So just slightly over the 50% margin. And then in the elimination leagues and with the brackets, I got down to 2-2 on that. So I lost 2-1-2, 50-50. So it's pretty much like right down the center for me this week, which I was okay with, you know, being that I didn't really have a lot of confidence in some of these teams. So I was happy to walk away with that. Just at least half of my team still alive. Where you at? You got a percentage on your overall, you know, wins or losses for your playoffs this week?
I mean, I'm probably 50-50, but you know,
out there this week, man, that's good. It wasn't like this was an easy week to skate through. There was points all over the place.
Yeah, no, I had a couple buys in the dynasty, but I didn't all my redrafts and my triathlon games. None of them got buys. So especially my redrafts, no buys. So I was going in there on like the 5th and 6th seed. So like I said, won a few, lost a few, and you know, all you can do is just survive and advance.
Exactly, just like our buddy FanCred Armin just said in our comments. He says he advanced in most of his playoff leagues and points were aplenty. And he is right. They were all over the place starting on Thursday, and even a few points given back to us on Monday night, which it was Monday night was a little disappointing after the great, you know, fantasy points extravaganza that we had just gone through over the weekend. But, you know, at this point, I'm pretty stoked that we ended up where we did with this week. What's up, Tux? How you doing, man? It's good to see you here. It's glad to see you guys. And make sure you stick around for the end of the show, too. We got Longshot picks coming, and you guys are going to need your help for that because the Grimm Kin, they scored a little bit last week. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but we definitely need to get some high dollar points this week. So we're going to need you guys for that.
Is that Tux Allen?
I believe it is, yes.
If that's Tux Allen, congratulations on advancing in 2 of your triathlon leagues. So congrats, Tux.
Yeah, I did. You did a great job in that, man. So you have 3, I have 2. I think he has 2. So he had 19 leagues sold at 16. He made the playoffs. That's pretty amazing, dude.
That's real good.
That's pretty amazing. And 9 are still in the money. I mean, geez Louise, dude, that's a really good season so far. And you're not even done yet, right? You still got 9 to go. So I expect a lot more points and a lot more dollar bills to be hitting your account in the next few weeks. So yeah, man. Talk about some crazy stuff going on this week, dude. Not only did we have points going on like nuts, but we had so many crazy injuries happen. Yeah, we got a lot to get discussed. We might as well just roll right on into our first down for the day and talk about our hot off the press. The first down hot off the press today. First things first, we're going to talk about some friends of ours. You know, these are some channels that we listen to, and we wanted you guys to have an opportunity to go listen to too. If you haven't already, check them out. FanCred, obviously, you guys met Armin last week on the show here. He's a really awesome guy, and he's doing great things over there at FanCred. We're going to be, you know, working with him a lot here in the future. And if you haven't already, go down and subscribe to his channel because the man knows what he's talking about. And he does a lot of great little funny shorts too. So far, I've seen some pretty awesome shorts coming out of that channel. I would definitely recommend. The Not Our Fault podcast is a couple of ex-offensive linemen, John Feliciano and Jamil Douglas. It's really a good show. It's a brand new show. They're just getting started, so definitely go and support them and subscribe to their channel. They give you a lot of great insight into what it's like to be actually in a locker room and, you know, to be one of the big men up front and what they go through on a daily basis. It's just really a good listen. I recommend it 100%. Our friends over at DGen Fantasy, Rocky, Brian, and Dan, they're hilarious, man. They have a really fun show. They do a lot more betting pick type show and things like that. A lot more fantasy, Q&As. So it's really definitely a listen, a good listen. I would recommend it for sure. Same thing with our friends over at Two Fat Guys and a Mic. If you didn't see our little collab episode that we did with them just the other day, Paul and me have known each other for years, and he's just a really funny guy. And I know that they're all going to have a little bit more skits and things like that going on in their show, and they're going to do a lot of fun stuff. So I really like all these shows. A couple of them are a little more NSFW, so just be aware of that when you go and check them out. But otherwise, it's really, really great content. Next one up, we're going to talk a little bit about our long shots from last week. So we just talked about it. These were the picks that Grimm Kin had last week. This was you guys picking for us here. A lot of these were coming from Cyborg, and he didn't do terrible, man. Tua and Blake both got some points for him. Being long shots, man, it's not easy, right? So Jaden and Cade didn't have great days themselves, but that's the way the cookie crumbles in this long shots game. Being that we were trying to catch up to our buddy Armin over there with 80 points, we need to keep shooting for long shots this week too. So when we go through that here later in the show, you guys definitely be ready to grab some of these fourth tier players. Scotty, man, what did you think of our long shot results from last week, dude? Do you think it was about where you expected it? Was there a guy that you thought maybe would do better? For me, it was Jaden Higgins. I thought we might get something out of him, but he just did nothing. What about you? You got anybody that you just expected more from, or gave you more than you thought would?
Well, K. Dotton was ruled out, so that gave us a big zero. But
I should have brought that up to you. That definitely hurt.
So that was a zero going into it. But no, I wasn't really surprised with Blake Corum's usage. So it's looking more like a 60-40 split going forward. So that was a really nice pick, and he was probably he had to be a tier 4 guy, right?
Oh yeah, all of our guys are going to be long shots when we do these picks. So definitely, we had to be, right. There's no way that wouldn't have been. So
I noticed one guy I picked last week, and I was really surprised he was in a tier 4, and I think it was because he was on the injury report, and there was questions whether or not he was going to play or not. But it was CeeDee Lamb with the concussion. He was a tier 4, and I'm like, I had to double check and make sure, he was like not officially out. But yeah, playing these long shots, you got to look for stuff like that. Guys that are on injury reports and might not play or might play. And if you can catch them in a tier 3 or 4 and they're an elite player and they do play, that's where you can gain some points.
Yeah. A guy like that this week could potentially be a Christian Watson if he's down there in that tier 4 range because of his potential injury status. So you keep an eye out for things like that when we're doing that later in the show. Tux has got a quick question for us. And as you guys know, we just love answering these questions for you guys. He's asking if Josh Allen, now how much I'm a Josh Allen guy, if he should start Josh Allen this week or Jacoby Brissett. What do you think, man? I mean, I can't say don't start Josh. It's not in my blood or my DNA. So I think you're going to have to answer this question for me. Do you think that you actually sit Josh for Jacoby Brissett on week 16 in your fantasy semis?
I'm never sitting Josh Allen. I mean, the guy averages 29 points a week. He's the number 1 fantasy football player. He's a set it and forget it. There's absolutely no matchup where you will be sitting him whatsoever. I don't care if there's 60-mile-an-hour winds. Josh can still run the ball. So the worst thing you could do is sit him and then you lose, and then you got to deal with that in your stomach the whole rest of the year. So Tux, please do the right thing and start Mr. Josh Allen.
Totally agree. I mean, the moment I even said sit Josh Allen, my dog just started growling at me. So she thinks the same as both you and I, and you play that Josh Allen all the way to a fantasy championship.
Yes, sir. Start your studs.
Absolutely. I always try to say that too in the fantasy place. I mean, it's hard sometimes because, like a guy like Mitch Tinsley last week, everybody was all hyped on him, bringing him in because of what was going on with T. Higgins and playing him. And even I was closest playing him in a league. I ended up switching him out at the last minute with somebody else. I think it was Luther Burden when I found out about the injury. And I'm glad I did because, I mean, gosh, this guy did nothing. So you got to be careful of stuff like that in these crucial weeks, man. Stick to the guys that got you there.
Yeah, you don't. I mean, the worst thing you can do is, and people do it every year. People do this. They sit a guy that got him there because of a matchup or something, and they lose, and then they got to deal with that the whole rest of the year. And it's hard to win a fantasy football championship. I mean, it's really hard. So when you can put yourself in a position to win one, um, you gotta you gotta put start your studs. These are the guys that you drafted high. These are the guys that you drafted that you drafted high because you wanted them. These are guys that are going to take you to the championship. So you do not want to sit these players at all unless they're really really injured and there's a chance that they're going to be like doubtful.
Yeah, that's the big concern, right? Is injury issues, and in this situation, that's not really the case with Josh. So you don't have to worry about that aspect at all for him. And I mean, I would definitely, like you said, stick to your guns and play him. Armin, of course, Armin's going to bring up the sack record on Josh Allen, right? So I mean, what do you think, man? What are we 1.5 sacks? So basically 2 sacks away from the sack record for Mike or for Miles. So where are you at on that, man? Do you think it's going to happen this week? You think he's going to get his 1.5 sacks against Josh?
I think it could happen. And the reason why I say that is because the Bills' offensive line has been a little shaky from game to game. Plus, when you get a mobile quarterback that likes to run around, that sometimes can create sack opportunities. He rolls out, nothing's there. He goes to run, then he gets tackled, and if it's behind the line of scrimmage, it's considered a sack. And so Josh tends to hold the ball a little bit longer because he wants to try to make a play. So unless he can outrun Myles Garrett, there's a good possibility that it could happen this week.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I think there's a good possibility that it can happen. I don't think it will. I think he might get 1 sack, but I don't think he's going to actually get the 2 sacks. And I mean, but again, you've said it just a minute ago that the offensive line has been very like hit or miss. It's been a very Jekyll and Hyde season for the Bills just in general. So they had a great game this week against New England. Thankfully, they won that one. But are they going to come into this game and be a little bit less energetic and lay an egg like they did against the Dolphins? I hope not, but it's possible. So,
and take another thing in consideration too. Another thing to consider too. If the Bills, boat race them and they sit Josh, I mean, who's the backup there? Who's the backup there in Buffalo, Sean?
Mitch Trubisky.
I mean, you could still get sacks against the backup quarterback. So
that's true. I mean, and if we score, like 45 points in the end before the end of the third quarter, then they go ahead and throw Mitch in for the entire fourth quarter. It could happen, right?
Yeah. So I mean, that could happen.
Oh, good question though, Armin. That is a really good topic to talk about real quick because it's going to be a fun one to watch. We got to go into some of the unfortunate news of the week. Patrick Mahomes tears an ACL. Now, look, guys, I know I'm a Bills fan, and I know you probably think I'm really happy about this happening to him, and I'm not. I'm not happy to see anybody get hurt, especially not somebody who's really is such a great talent to watch on the field and so much fun to watch out. He's out there playing, even though half the time it's kicking my team's butt. I still enjoy watching the man play football. So it does bother me that he's hurt. The fact that they're out of the playoffs already and everything. I mean, it's not like they're losing much this season, but this is an injury that could linger. I heard today that there was some, I think LCL damage as well that needed to be repaired during the surgery. And I guess the guy who did the surgery is a little bit more known for other things than ACLs. So those 2 factors could tell me that there might be more to the story than we know. And what's going to happen moving into next season? Is that going to put him in a position where he's going to miss some time to start the year? It's very possible. So I just hate to see that kind of stuff happen because not only now this year do we have the whole potential asterisk that the Chiefs are in the playoffs and whoever gets there from the AFC did not have to go through them, but we also have next year potentially with the same asterisks already. So it's just frustrating and unfortunate. I mean, how do you feel, Scott? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, he had surgery today. They repaired the ACL and LCL. If you look at, they said it's kind of like a Javonte Williams injury. It was that bad. You're looking at maybe 9 months, so that would take him to the middle of September. Knowing Pat Mahomes, he's going to want to get back as soon as possible, try to get back into rehab as soon as possible. It wouldn't shock me if he's ready for week 1. Obviously, he won't be playing any preseason. He'll be wearing a brace. He is a quarterback, so he's not going to be. It's not like he's going to running back or receiver. He's got to like make cuts and stuff. He probably won't be running as much that he did this year, so it wouldn't shock me if he's the week 1 starter. And actually, this news, I will definitely be drafting him because I think he'll be dropping in drafts. And as long as I can see he's progressing through the summer and it's looking like he's going to start week 1, a lot of people are going to be skittish and maybe not take him early in drafts, especially in Superflex, and I'll scoop him up.
I mean, you go right ahead. I'll be the one that lets you take him because not to say that I don't think he's going to be healthy for the season, but their offense wasn't looking good even when he was healthy this year. And who's to say that they're not kind of in a soft reset kind of situation moving into next season with some of their offensive weapons and, running game, all those things that need to be worked on. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see what happens with him, but I don't think I'm going to take him, in that high tier quarterback range by any means. There's a good amount of guys that I'd probably take over him to start the season next year after this injury. So I'm in a little bit of a different boat with him than you. And I definitely do think that there's more concern than you're leading on to. But that's why we love this game, right? Because you get to draft him when you want to, and I get to pass him up. So you can do that. Yeah,
well, he still averaged 24 points a game in a supposed down year for the Chiefs. So he's going to have a full year of Rashee Rice. Whether or not Kelsey's there or not is back or not is not really a big deal. They still have Hollywood Brown. Thornton's been good. So, he's still an elite quarterback. And, I'm not going to jump up in the first round and grab him. But if he's sitting there at the late second and a super flex early third, I'm taking him.
I mean, I guess so. I mean, if you're talking dynasty or redraft here, I think in redraft I might consider it in like the third.
And if they're in the third, even late second. If I could start my team with Josh Allen and Pat Mahomes, I don't think that's a bad start at all.
If you're starting with Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, you're probably going to have to start with the 1.1 and the 2.12.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. If he's sitting there at the end of the second round, scooping him up.
That makes sense. I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that Josh Allen's still the 1.1 in Superflex.
What did I say? Yep, 1.1.
So let's move on to the next unfortunate injury. We got Davante Adams hurting his hammy. Now, I haven't heard anything, Scott. If you've got any information that's more current on his injury than me, feel free to chime in. But right now, as far as I understand, we don't know much more than what happened at the game, and we're still waiting to hear. So, it's obviously a concern the way he fell. It looked like it was not something that he's going to just, turn around and be fine next week after. So I'm a little concerned about his status, just playing status alone, but also if he does play, is he going to be an effective guy or more of a decoy? I'm a little concerned, man. So where are you at right now with Davante? Number one, do you have any more information than I do? And number two, what do you think about his prospects for this semis week?
Well, one, he was hurt late in that game, so he pulled up late with the injury. And then second, they have a quick turnaround on Thursday, so I don't see him playing. They want him for the playoffs. They're still sitting pretty good in the NFC. Puka's fine, even though it's going to be they're really going to need him this week. But you got to think of long term, and you put him out there when he's not, fully 100%, and he could go from just a strain to a complete tear, and then he's done for the season. So to me, it's just not even worth it. Just put him on the bench, and you have enough firepower in that offense to put up some good production. So I wouldn't risk it.
Even in this game against the Seahawks, really the only team that you kind of have to have a win against for the rest of the year. You could take probably a loss against the rest of the teams and be okay, but this was one that you really should win.
Well, would you rather win this game and lose Davante Adams, or lose this game and have Davante Adams for the rest of the playoffs?
Well, if there's a chance that he's going to be gone, then obviously I don't want to play him. But if they think that he's healthy enough to get through the game without re-aggravating his injury, I think that you kind of have to put him out there this week.
If you put him out there, go ahead. I would send him out there as a decoy. I'm not going to have a guy that's got a hamstring strain have an opportunity to go out there and either re-aggravate it or do some major damage to it. I mean, they're 11-2. They're sitting at the top. I know they're going to want to buy, but I just don't think it's worth it.
Well, I mean, I get what you're saying. What's up, Jimmy? How you doing, buddy? He's talking about said that Patrick was already in a mid-tier second last year, which I agree with. And then, he's got Parkinson here he's talking about, which is a good point too. Parkinson had a good game. He's coming up, so they could just kind of lean a little bit more on some of their other weapons this week. And just, I do think that with or without him, my honest opinion is they're going to win that game anyway. So I don't think that there's any reason to push him out there, but I also feel like situation being what it is, if he's capable of going and they feel like he won't hurt himself, he's going to go.
Yep. Now, me and Jimmy are on the same page. No Adams.
See, we'll see in a couple of days, right? That's going to be the first answer we're going to get this week.
Yes, sir.
Another horrible injury. I know this isn't a fantasy player but we got to mention one of the best defensive players in the game going down for the rest of the year on a team that is a Super Bowl contending team. It's just, gosh, another frustration going on. How many horribly bad injuries to really good players have we had this year? It's just unbelievable. It's just another, one in a long line. It seems like poor Micah Parsons tearing his ACL in a season where he was finally starting to kind of catch fire with that defense and pushing them to another level. So, Scotty, man, how do you feel about this situation going on now with Green Bay? More specifically, what do you think about their defensive situation? Do you think this is going to be more of a productive offense against their defense now because of it? Do you think it's going to make that big of a difference when you're talking about playing against the Packers?
Well, yeah, it's going to be a huge difference. I mean, besides Myles Garrett, I mean, Micah Parsons is at the same level as, one of the best defensive players in this generation. So you have to scheme for him. You have to know where he is on the field at all times. He moves around. So yeah, it's a huge blow to the Packers defense. So, and playing in a division where if the Lions are able to get in and the Bears get in, if you end up facing those teams in the playoffs, they like to throw the ball. So you gotta pressure the quarterback and in the playoffs in general, you need to pressure the quarterback. And he was the guy that pressured the quarterback, the most on that defensive unit. So Rashawn Gary's going to have to pick things up, and other players are going to have to pick things up, and the offense is going to have to, run the ball, more with Josh Jacobs and try to keep the defense off the field.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, they swung for the fences to make the trade to get him, and in the process gave away one of their top D tackles, and now Micah's out and they don't have that D tackle anymore. So it's just like a double whammy almost. And, the whole point of this trade was to be that much more competitive for this season. So it's disappointing as a Packer fan for sure. It's not the end of the world. It's not like, losing your quarterback, like what happened with the Chiefs, but it still does definitely. It's the quarterback of your defense. So it hits one side of your field almost as much. Yeah, so yeah, definitely devastating injuries this week. A lot of them to go through there, unfortunately, but now we can kind of move on past that and get into some more of the fun stuff. We're going to talk about some of the guys who went off this week on our second down. We always start out, we go through the games here, guys. We got to start with my boys, the Bills. I mean, that big win against the Patriots. Everybody was telling me, your Bills can't beat these guys. You're going to find out that the Patriots are back and it's their division again and blah, 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 blah. Well, you guys are all wrong. Josh Allen came out there and did Josh Allen things and showed you why he's still the MVP and most likely has a shot at getting it again this year if he keeps playing like this. He just did everything that was necessary. Going down by 21 points, I was literally screaming at my TV too. Do not get me wrong. I was just as upset and irate at that 21-0 mark as everybody else was. And I was already kind of throwing in the towel to an extent myself, thinking that I was just going to have to mentally prepare for a horrible rest of the day. And, Josh just turned it around at halftime and decided to come out here and will us to victory. Scotty, man, we just talked about Josh, definitely playing in this week. Do you think that Josh is still sitting at the 1.01 next year with some of the quarterbacks that are up and coming, that are younger than him, that have more time long-term? When we're talking dynasty here, long-term value, does Josh still sit at your 1.01 at dynasty startups?
Yeah, it's 101. It's not even close. I mean, he's going to be 30 years old next year. I mean, you take Dynasty into like in the way I like to do it in like a 4-year window, and Josh Allen still has 4 to 5 years left of solid production. So yeah, I'm not even going to flinch. I do like Drake May up there at the top in Dynasty, but when you have a guy that can not only just put up just monster points, throwing the ball, but running the ball. I mean, the offense runs through him. So yeah, I wouldn't even flinch at the 101. I mean, I'm just taking them. It's just, and a little bit about the game. I mean, it just shows you what a young team, if they don't finish games. I mean, the Patriots are young. They did not learn last week how to finish games, and they're up, and they might have let their foot off the gas a little bit. And I blame that a lot on the coaching staff. The coach should have these players prepared and have them, not take their foot off the gas. You are playing the Buffalo Bills, they're an elite team. So, they let them get back in the game, and good teams find a way to win. And that's what the Buffalo Bills did. They found a way to win. And it was behind their ace quarterback.
Yeah. And we're going to find out more about this in our power rankings, because me and Scott are going to have some battles over this in our power rankings here tomorrow. But man, the Bills, the Patriots, the way that everybody's hyping them up, the way the Bills came in there and ended up winning this game, it just leads a little bit more into my validation that the Patriots schedule has had a lot to do with their record and why they've looked so good. Doesn't mean that they're not a good team. I just don't think they're that good of a team that everybody makes them out to be. So, I think this is going to be the beginning of the end when it comes to good teams that can play against the Patriots really well. I think you're going to find when they hit the playoffs that it's not going to look like the same team as it has for this season. So that's just my opinion. Obviously, I could be wrong, but I'm a little bit of a Bills homer, and I always want them to be better than the Patriots. So, of course, I'm going to.
No, I mean, I think this was a good loss for the Patriots. I mean, you never want to have a loss. A loss is never good, but I think for the Patriots, it is a good loss because they're riding high on a long winning streak, and they learned that, hey, you have to put teams away, especially in the playoffs. I mean, the Lions learned that a few years ago when they went to Levi Stadium and they were, pounding on the 49ers in the first half, and then they let their foot off the gas, made some bad coaching decisions, and they lost that game. So when you have a team, when you have their, the foot on their, under their throat, you got to push, you got to just, end it and not let these teams get back in.
Yeah, I mean, it's easier said than done, though. And it takes a really good team to do that, and I just don't know if they're quite that team yet. But they're on their way. That's for dang sure.
What up, Cyborg? Cyborg's in. Finally made it in.
What's up, buddy? Good to see you, Cy. So next one up, man. This is one that's going to be fun to talk about. Trevor Lawrence, man, he is finally showing everybody that he could be good. Jags beat the Jets 48-20. He went 20 of 32 for 330 and 5 TDs, and I did not say that wrong. 5 TDs. Plus, he had 5 carries for 51 yards, and why not just throw in another TD for just good measure right there? We'll make it a 6 TD game while we're at it. Scored him a total of 54 fantasy points in the process. Scott, man, Trevor Lawrence, dude, he literally hasn't shown anybody anything until this year, and now last few, I'd say, I don't know, 3-4 weeks or so, he's kind of starting to look a little better. Like he might maybe still have a chance to be worth that 101 that he was taken at. Do you have any faith that this is him like steadily moving up, or is this just a flash in the pan?
Well, I mean, we need to talk about Liam Cohen. I mean, he's the, the engine there in that, coaching staff. So maybe he is a quarterback whisperer, and maybe he is getting the best out of Trevor Lawrence. So maybe just needed a coaching change. So sometimes that works with these quarterbacks. I mean, look at Daniel Jones, going over to Shane Steichen, Sam Darnold going over to your face cousin. And so sometimes it is the coaching staff. And, I had to move the Jags into my top 10. I mean, they've proven to me that they're for real. And, you look at their offense, Travis Etienne, I mean, he's doing it in the passing game. I mean, their number one receivers now is Jacoby Myers. I mean, Brian Thomas Jr. is like an afterthought right now. He's doing nothing. So, it's just, like I said, I wasn't drinking the Kool-Aid, but I may have to now.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat with them, man. And they're going to be moving into my top 10 too. Spoiler alert. And it's earned. It's not like they didn't earn this position with us. We've been fighting putting them up here, probably more than most. And the fact that they're finally reaching that top 10 just tells you that it's impossible not to move them up there at this point. And I still don't feel like I should have them there. It still feels weird to have them in the top 10. I'm not gonna lie, man. It just still feels wrong. But it's not. It's really not. When you look and you break it down, you kind of have to do it at this point. So kudos to you guys, man. They went out there and they kicked the butt. They beat a team they should beat, but they didn't just beat them and barely walk out of there with a win. They went in there and they dominated that team, made them look like they were a junior high football team out there playing varsity. So it definitely was a statement type of victory for them.
One guy to look out for and one guy to look out for in Dynasty too, if you're able to maybe try to acquire him next year. I know he's on a crappy team, but AD Mitchell, he had 6 for 56 and got in the box again. So, it looked like a change of scenery. Sometimes guys just need a change of scenery, and he was buried on the depth chart in Indy. Goes over to the Jets, and I know the Jets suck, but he's a guy you might be able to scoop up if no one's really paying attention.
He's a guy too that like he came out kind of raw, kind of like, I mean, I don't want to call anybody like they can't figure something out, like they're dumb. It's not the case, but maybe it just takes him a little longer to like pick things up. And he did seem like the type who was making some kind of just like the rookie type of mental errors a little more than most in the beginning of his career. So I think that he just maybe needed a little more time to just kind of absorb like NFL style playbooks and just general things like route running and how to approach it. So, now that he's kind of matured into that experience a little more, I think it's showing on his play on the field. And next year with Garrett Wilson back and, having each of them on that field at the same time. And obviously we know they're going to draft one of these kids coming out as a quarterback, I'm assuming. So you never know what could happen with that team if they get the right offensive coordinator there.
Yeah. One more, I want to do one quick question. I know we're kind of doing a retrack, but I didn't get to ask it. I'm going to ask you this, and I'm going to ask Jimmy in the chat too, because I know Jimmy's was high on this at the beginning of the season. Dynasty next year, who would you rather have, Ashton Genty or Travion Henderson?
Dynasty next year, I'm still taking Genty. So to me, really? Genty, Genty has got the type of talent that it's just, I mean, it's hard not to take him and still just assume that talent's going to get him there. I know the team is a lot farther behind, but if you're talking Dynasty, then I'm taking Genty. Now, of course, if it's redraft, of course not, but Dynasty, I'm still going towards the massive talent that Genty has.
Wow.
I know. We'll see what Jimmy has to say. That I'm sure.
I think I've seen enough. I've seen enough out of Travion Henderson to go that route. Oh, look at Jimmy. Jimmy goes right to Henderson. So, yeah. So,
hey, I mean that might be also because he's a New England Patriot, and I just have a really hard time rooting for anybody that's wearing a New England Patriot helmet. So,
and that comes out of a lot. And Jimmy's a Raiders fan too. So, I mean, I'm sure that had to tug at his heart a little bit to go Henderson, but yeah, Henderson's just so explosive. And I'm not saying Janty's not a great back. I just think he's just in a bad spot. And I mean, he did the most this year with nothing. I'll give him that much. I mean, he was running into there were players in the backfield when he was getting the ball. So I feel bad for the kid, but Travion Henderson is just so explosive. I think there was a stat out there. He had like five touchdown runs of more than like 30 yards. It was just crazy. So
yeah, he was explosive, and I'm not going to argue that at all. It's just so hard for me not to take that massive talent that Genty has, because they're going to build around him and he's going to be their focal point. I mean, he's still not even playing Ramondre Stevenson more than he should. He's still putting this old man in there over Henderson.
Yeah.
So I think the Genty they're going to build around. Henderson, they still can't even figure out that he's the guy they should play all the time. So it's still definitely got a little bit of something to do with my opinion there. Next up on our setup, we're going to talk a little Broncos and Packers. Now, I wanted to take the Broncos. Scotty would not let me in our pick 'em with the two fat guys. So I was right. You were wrong. Broncos destroyed the Packers. The Knicks went out there and kicked butt.
They didn't destroy them. They didn't destroy them.
They basically destroyed him. It was a close game the whole game. It was a pretty dominant win in my opinion, from what I saw anyway. So, the Knicks threw for 302, 4 TDs. He had 4 carries for 10 yards, 37 total points. There was other people that scored pretty well in this game too. It wasn't just him, but what do you think of Bo Nix moving forward? We just talked about where you got Josh Allen next year in your dynasty startups. Where does Nix fall in your dynasty startups?
Nix is a first-round talent in Superflex.
So you're taking him so give me a ballpark, 10 to 15 quarterback as far as your QBs are ranking. What are you thinking?
Actually, I was starting to work on a first-round, way too early Superflex mock draft that'll be
really. Oh man,
in
I
one
had
of our
no
articles.
idea.
Yeah, it'll be one of our articles on our website, which should be launching, Sean, when in the next week, hopefully.
Yep, absolutely. Should be in the next week. We actually just got email this morning stating that it's ready for another check.
Yeah, I got him at the back half of the first round, somewhere around like 109, 110 range.
I mean, I feel like I'm in the same boat. I feel like I'm around that same boat. I still just don't think that they utilize him kind of enough. It feels like Sean Payton just isn't really kind of like wanting to get the most out of him for fantasy point. We all know Sean Payton hates fantasy anyways, but I'm a little concerned about taking him over a couple of other guys that I kind of like in that range. So, I might be just a little later than that, but it's not that much, like maybe right at the end of the first, beginning of the second.
Yeah, I'm thinking like 108, 109 range, somewhere around there. I mean, like I said, it's, I like drafting quarterbacks with good coaches. I mean, they're going to get the most out of them, I think. And I mean, you say that you don't think that Peyton's getting the most out of him. I mean, really,
I'm not
all you
saying
could
that.
ask for is maybe
fantasy wise, he's not maximizing his fantasy potential for us. He's doing great for the field and for what they're doing on the field and in real life. But I mean, Nick, they're not utilizing. He had 4 carries for 10 yards. I mean, the guy was running all over the place last year. He's got wheels.
Yeah.
Use him.
Yeah, you could use him a little bit more in the running game, in the running game for sure.
So that's where my concern is. That's what I'm talking about. Not so much as far as him being utilized on the field for what he's doing in real life. That's 100% doing a great job. Sean Payton is Sean Payton. So next up, we got the Niners 37, Titans 24. Purdy, man, he's out there lighting it up. Purdy was one of those guys that a lot of people thought was going to be a sneaky top guy this year, and then the injuries kind of hurt him. But now that he's back on the field and, he's got most of his weapons out there, he went 23 of 30 for 295 and 3 TDs, 7 carries for 44 yards on top of that. So that gave him a total of 31 fantasy points. I mean, Scott, what do you think about Brock? Do you think you're happy to start Brock the rest of the season and be good to go? If he's in your lineup, do you start him?
Yeah, because I think the rest of the season you're going to see games like this. The Niners defense is not good, a lot of injuries, and they're going to have to outscore their opponents. So I think there'll be some high scoring games. So yeah, expect Brock Purdy, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey continue to just go, bonkers the rest of the year. And they had the easiest schedule coming in this year, and even the back end of their schedule is pretty easy. So yeah, I start these guys with no problem, especially if you have Brock Purdy. I mean, there's very, very few quarterbacks I'm starting over Brock Purdy going the rest of the way.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those seasons, man, where I think it's going to be the highest fantasy scoring playoffs that we've ever seen this year. Because the way the points are coming, the way the defenses are struggling and offenses are just going nuts right now. These next few weeks, I think it's just going to be a crazy, crazy good scoring. So I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't turn out to be, at least in the top tier, if not the top overall fantasy point scoring weeks 15, 16, 17 that we've ever seen.
Yeah.
And Brock Purdy will be
another
a big
thing
part
too
of that.
is, yeah, and another thing, and obviously on the losing end, you always got to talk about, the losing team when there's putting up points, and Cam Ward, he had a good game. I mean, he had 170 yards, 2 touchdowns, 18 points, ran a couple rushes for 18 yards. And, I think Cam Ward is going to be a good quarterback in this league. I mean, I don't know if he's going to be super elite, but he's going to be a good quarterback, and they just got to get some players around him. And I mean, I wouldn't mind trading for him in Dynasty. I mean, if you find that owner that maybe thinks he's, he wants it more out of him, maybe you can trade for Cam Ward. But I actually like Cam Ward going forward. If they just need to surround him better with some better players.
Yeah, that whoever they decide to hire a coach is going to make a huge difference for what happens with him moving forward. But he's shown me that he can be capable of some great things if he's given the right opportunity.
Yeah,
so I totally agree with you on that one. The next one up, we got the Vikings 34, Cowboys 26. Who saw that coming, huh? McCarthy's starting to play like he's actually, worth that first round pick that they spent on him. 15 and 24 for 250 and 2 TDs with a pick. He also had 4 carries for 15 yards and another TD where he tried to do like the whitest, worst gritty I've ever seen on his way across the goal line. It was hilarious. But Scott, I know this is not your best guy. I know you're not a huge fan of the McCarthy man, but do you think that this shows that they don't need to worry about a quarterback next year and can try to continue to develop this kid? Or do you think you're still trying to chase that, veteran guy like a Kyler or somebody like that?
No, I mean, people got to remember this is like his rookie year. I mean, he was hurt all last year, so this is basically his rookie year. The only problem I have with JJ McCarthy is, dude, where is Justin Jefferson, man? Can you throw Justin Jefferson the football? I mean, geez.
Well, it's not only that. He's been trying to, and there was one specific play where he forced a throw to Justin Jefferson that was off target in the end zone, and Jalen Naylor was literally like 15 feet in front of him, right in the back of the middle of the end zone, just like jumping up and down and waving his arms wide open with nobody around him. And he forced the ball to Justin to try to get Justin the TD. So, like, to me, it's become a problem. Like you said, it's not just that where is Justin, but it's like now it's become he knows where is Justin. So he's trying to force it to him rather than watching the play develop.
Yeah, so, but they're not even, there's some of those games though, they're not even scheming for Justin Jefferson. I mean, you can throw him a smoke screen, just get the ball in his hands, a slant. I'm noticing he's going to Hawkinson a lot more. They're going to the tight ends in the end zone. He's going, throwing it to Jalen Naylor. I mean, when Darnold was there, it was all the same players were there when Darnold was there, and he found a way to get Jefferson the ball. And I know Jefferson's getting frustrated, but yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. Yeah, so I mean, what do you do with Justin Jefferson next year, Sean? I mean, where are you taking Justin Jefferson in a dynasty?
That's a really good question. That's a really good question because it's such a difficult thing to do. Like, you can't slip him past so many guys, but then at a certain point, you're like, JSN for sure over him, Chase for sure over him. Like, he's going to be down in that tier. Neighbors over him, right? So, like, he's going to be in that 3rd round, 4th round tier probably.
So is he a buy? Are you buying him?
I think I'd still buy him if I could get him cheap enough. Because if somebody's willing to sell him right now at this price point, he's still an amazing talent, one of the top players in the league. So it's not like you're going to keep him down forever. Even if Minnesota doesn't utilize him to their greatest extent, they'll probably end up having to trade him by the end of the trade deadline next year if they're not getting anything out of him, because they're going to want to get the value for him too before it's too late. So, that could be a situation happening by as early as the middle of next year. We don't know. So it's, when you're talking dynasty, if somebody's willing to give him up for like a 1st round pick, and that you would know would be a late 1st rounder going into next year, and maybe like a mid-tier receiver, I think I would definitely do it, like a Jaden Reed or something. I think I would probably go for it.
Yeah, Jimmy in chat says 112. I think that's a little aggressive. I got some guys ahead of him. I would take Puka over him, JSN over him, Chase over him. Obviously, I'd take St. Brown over him. I mean, these are guys that are
neighbors over him too.
Yeah, I'm taking Neighbors over him because of the youth. Yeah. I mean, Neighbors is going to be 23. Even though he's coming off an ACL. I mean, Jefferson's he's going to be 27, which isn't like super old, but it just, what are you going to, I'm sure he'll have a better year next year. It's just, I don't know, dude. I'm still going to buy him. If I can, like I said, I like to go, I love going to thrift fairs. I love going to try to get deals. And yeah, if I can get a deal for Justin Jefferson, yeah, I'm going to acquire him.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I think if you can get the right price for him, now's the time to go after him, because he'll never be cheaper than this. unless it's like just he's at the end of his career and that it is what it is then. But right now, he's still got a good amount of years left. Like you said, 3 to 4 year timeline. If you look at it that way, I would be buying him too if you can get him for the right price for sure. Next up, man, another, unfortunately for the Cardinals, they lost the game 40-20 to the Texans. But man, McBride, you talk about a dominant performance out there. 12 catches for 134 yards and 2 TDs for a total of 37 points, man. This was the week of the tight ends, huh? I mean, you got Kyle Pitts with his 3 TDs. You got McBride over here with his 37 points. You got Darren Waller on Monday night, the highest scoring fantasy player of the game, I'm pretty sure. Like, I mean, geez Louise, right? Like, what is going on with the tight ends in week 15?
Yeah, it's it's Jacoby Brissett. I mean, Jacoby Brissett's just been a revelation you couldn't ask for, you love the Cardinals. I mean, if you got players, you love them because it doesn't matter who they're playing because they can't run the ball. So they're just going to throw and it's all going to go to McBride. I mean, he doesn't even line up on the line. He lines up as a receiver. So, and he's just a monster. I mean, if you invested in him early, like I did, in a lot of my leagues, I have not been upset by taking him in the early second round at all. So, been very happy with that.
Getting a lot too, because he was falling behind Bowers for a lot of people too. And like, he was dropping down some leagues, man. He dropped to the point where I had no choice but to take, so it was
I had situations where I had him and Bowers on the board in like the late second. And I pulled the trigger on him. Just because I thought the offense would be better, and it is because they can't run the ball. So if they can't run the ball, he's a target funnel,
and because Kyler Murray's not playing.
Yeah, it's
Kyler Murray was killing every offensive player on that team. I'm with you 100%.
Exactly.
We had a lot of good scoring in this game, but that tight end right there, Trey McBride is just on point. It's crazy.
Yeah, but and then the Texans, man. What about CJ? Can we call CJ Shred again, or is he still CK?
I don't know. Let's let him throw for more than 300 yards before we start, going that far with it. The man only got 22 of 29 for 260. Yeah, he had 3 TDs, but it's still only 260 yards. He could have done a little better than that, and a lot of that came from Collins' big play. He had his 3 catches for 85 yards and 2. So. They both had a good game, those two guys, but they had to have like one really long play. I think it was like 60 something yards or 70 yards or something. So that made a big difference in those stat lines for sure. And, you talked about Brissett. I mean, Brissett, he scored almost as many fantasy points, threw for almost as many yards, and the man's known as a career backup.
Yeah.
So, I'm not going with that CJ Shred anytime soon. I'll tell you that. So next up, we talked about the tight ends, man. Here's another one that we just mentioned. Kyle Pitts having another great game. Falcons ended up pulling out a real close one in Thursday night's game, 29-28 over the Buccaneers. Pitts ended up having an amazing game to help anybody who actually started him that week and had him in their lineup. I mean, they had a great start to their Thursday. 166 yards on 11 catches for 3 TDs, total of 45 points. Scotty, Kyle Pitts moving forward now. There's talk that he'd probably get franchise tags, most likely, because he obviously hasn't shown enough to warrant a big deal at this point, but he's shown enough to not want him to just walk. So Kyle Pitts on the franchise tag, most likely Michael Penix starting back there next year. Cousins probably wearing a different uniform. Are you completely out on Pitts at this point? Because I feel like it's almost exactly happening again, like it has for every year over the last 4 years with this guy, where you're done with him, and then right before you're ready to go ahead and start drafting, he goes and does something like this and makes you feel like you might have to go ahead and take him if he falls again. Like I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I don't know about you, but I don't want to do it.
Yeah, well, look at the situation. So, like, you have a Trey McBride situation, and I know people are going to say, well, Marvin Harrison was out. Well, it doesn't matter. Trey McBride's been doing it all year. It doesn't matter who's in the lineup. Same thing with Bowers. Doesn't matter who's in the lineup. But when you take Drake London out of the lineup, this is what you get. So what I like to do in this situation is, if I can turn around and sell this guy, he's never going to be as high as he is right now. So I'm going to move on from him if I can find somebody that'll pay top dollar for him that's dying at tight end. So yeah, I would move on from him and try to get the most I can out of him. I think it's more of a mirage. And the only reason why he's been trending is because London's been out.
Yeah, it has definitely been, all wheels up for him ever since London went out. And then also with Kirk Cousins back there, he's a type that likes to make sure that his tight ends get the loving. So definitely do agree with you. I'm not going after him again next year. I'm not letting this happen. I'm going to go ahead and let somebody else take on that headache and just go after some guy like a Trey McBride that I know I'm okay with.
Yeah. What about Bijan, man? Bijan went. We got to go.
Oh yeah, that's
we
true.
got to talk about Bijan
before we skip off this game. You're absolutely right. We should talk about Bijan. He had 29.
Yeah,
total
we got to
points.
talk about Bijan.
So, yeah, 93 yards with the TD, and then he had 8 catches with 82 yards added top of that, so a total of 29 points. I mean, Bijan definitely killed it. So did Kurt, 32 points for him too. So like they all had a pretty good game. All three of those guys really. It was a pretty decent start to the fantasy day if you had anybody in that game really, except for Egbuka. So yeah, man. Robinson though, we went and talked all that mess about how Jameer is over him for one-on-one, and then he was like, "Yeah, wait a second, guys, don't forget about me."
Yeah, it's going to be tough. And single quarterback next year, it's going to be a real tough decision between him and Jameer Gibbs as the top spot. I mean, I may just go down to the schedule at that point. I mean, I may just have to look at the schedule and see, and obviously what happens with David Montgomery, what happens with Tyler Algier. I'm pretty sure Algier will be back. Don't know about Montgomery. But yeah, Bijan can do it all just like, Gibbs can. So that's going to be a tough decision. And then I want to give one shout out to one of my favorite players in the NFL, big old Mike Evans. Comes back, 12 targets, 6 receptions, 132 yards. Just a beastly man he is in that offense. I love to see him back. And I mean, he could have just threw in the towel the rest of the year, and he did. He came back. So big shout out to big Mike Evans.
Yeah, Mike Evans definitely. I mean, you talk about going out there and toughing it out, man. And I mean, the guy's a beast. It's unfortunate this will probably be his last season. I would like to see him play again, but I can understand it if he decides to hang it up. It's been a rough one for him.
Yep. All right.
So game of the week, baby. Rams 41, Lions 34. I mean, you talk about some fantasy. Like I said, I mean, they were all over the board this week. And here we had 4 players, all of them over 20 burger. Puka had 27, Matt had 24, Amon-Ra 41, Goff 31. I mean, holy snikes. They all just really had a great game. And it was one of those games, man. It was exactly what you expected it to be. And it was worth every second that you had that thing on your TV. So, Scott, man, what did you think when you watched this happen? Was one of these guys like your savior or your sinner?
No, Amon-Ra was huge for me this week. Had him in a lot of triathlon leagues, went off for me. I mean, elite receiver. He's gonna one of 2 receivers in the league right now with over 100 catches. So that was really good for me. And then on the surprisingly on the Rams side, you got Cody Parkinson, who had 24 points, 5 for 75 and 2 touchdowns. So he's a sneaky little ad if you need tight end help. Definitely moving forward.
Hey man, we just talked about it. Nobody needs tight end help, right? Everybody's great after this week.
Yeah, and I know Jimmy said earlier in the chat that with Evans being out, Parkinson could have some extended targets, which I agree 100%. So, big. If he's still on the waiver wire, I mean, God, he'd be a great ad this week if in your playoff push. So, and then Puka's Puka, man. I mean, 9 catches, 181 yards, 27 points. He got banged up a little bit, but he's tough as nails. So, and then Stafford, I mean, Sean, he's basically, right now he's got to be number 1 MVP. I know you're going to say Josh, but you like Josh.
I'm with you. I think Josh is on his heels. I don't think Josh is like in the lead though. I think Stafford's been in the lead in that position for a while. We've talked about that for a few weeks now on this show. That I definitely agree with you. I think Josh is nipping at his heels, but Stafford's the one that's there. Now, Devontae hurt in these next few weeks. I mean, obviously, they're not going to be pushing as hard, I would say, as the Bills, because they're not kind of in as dire. The Bills really want to still have a shot at that division. The Rams are kind of in the lead and controlling their destiny. So I don't know if this Devontae Adams is going to make a difference and if Josh is going to have to push harder and that'll sway it. But as of right now, season over, I'm taking Stafford as the MVP. And I don't think it's close enough to make it, a race like it was last year. I think it's pretty much a done deal if the season were to be over right now.
Yeah, and give a shout out to Jared Goff. I mean, went back to the place that didn't want him anymore, and he, in a losing effort, went out there and threw for 338 and 3 tutties. So
yeah,
and JMO, I mean, JMO came through too. So I mean, it was just, this is the type of game you want for fantasy. I mean, you sit there and you're like, you get points. I mean, everyone got points for you. So it was great to see.
Yeah, it was definitely a fun one. And like we talked about, man, I mean, this is just these fantasy playoffs, the matchups and the way things are moving. It's just going to be a lot of this over and over again, I think.
Yeah. No,
so, we get a little tip of the cap here. Ravens were 24, Bengals 0. I mean, that was definitely not what we anticipated, right? The Bears 31, Browns 3. Chargers 16, beat the Chiefs by 3. I think if Mahomes doesn't get hurt, though, I feel like that outcome might have been different. The Eagles 31, Raiders 0. Everybody, you can't who raised their hand if you didn't expect that, right? Like, come on. Commanders 29, Giants 21. That was a closer game than people thought. I actually honestly thought the Giants might run away with that game a little more, and the Commanders kind of put it on them. So, none of those games really had anything too major going on as far as fantasy stars are concerned. They were pretty ho-hum. But the rest of the games definitely made up for it.
Yeah, I mean, look at those some of those games though. We had 2 teams get shut out, and the Browns should have never kicked a meaningless field goal. We should have had 3 shutouts, which is very, very rare in the NFL.
Have we even had 3 shutouts all season? I think we only had 1 shutout, right, before this week.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Shutouts are just very, very hard to come by, and in all reality, we should have 3.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about it that way. So in third down today, guys, we're going to do a little bit of fantasy Christmas presents for you guys. Since this is our last show before the end of the year, we're not going to be with you guys next week and the New Year's holiday because obviously the holidays are falling on right there on our pod days. So we will still be dropping a lot of content, guys. Don't be scared. We're still going to be around. We're just not going to do the live show for a couple of weeks. We will be back after the first of the year. So we're going to go ahead and give you guys a little bit of a going away Christmas present, so you guys can have these in the back pocket for these couple fantasy weeks. So what we're going to do, guys, we're going to give you guys who we think 3 players that we think are going to be the top 3 players for week 16 and week 17 to help you win your championship in your fantasy leagues. So we're going to roll right into our first guy of the day. So week 16, first champion player you're going to have on your roster is good old Joe Burrow versus the Dolphins. And, this is one that it feels like it's pretty obvious, but I mean, they did just put up a big old huge burger against a team that people thought they were going to score well against. So big old huge 0 burger is what I meant by that. So Scotty, man, what makes you think that Joe Burrow is going to turn it around and show up for us on week 16 and help us win that ship?
Because he just got roasted this week for putting up a goose egg, and I just don't see him putting up another dud. I mean, these guys are players. They know, they watch TV, they read the press clippings. He's just been getting lambasted that it was his worst game in his whole career. So yeah, they're professionals. I can see him coming out. The weather should be fine in Miami. Aaron Rodgers had no problem throwing the ball against that Dolphin defense. So it wouldn't shock me if Glass Joe goes out there and puts up 4 tutties.
Wow. See, well, you heard it right here, guys. Your fantasy president on week 16 at the quarterback position is going to be Joe Burrow, because that man is going to score 4 touchdowns. Scott said it first. Next up on this Merry Christmas of a week 16, it's Bijan Robinson versus the Cardinals. Scotty, yes. Why don't you tell everybody why Bijan is going to be your Christmas present on week 16 to score you those fantasy championship points?
Well, he's been a gift all year. I mean, he's playing against the Cardinals, which we've already talked about. The Cardinals got it's fantasy smorgasbord when you play the Cardinals. So
smorgasbord.
Yes. So it's a holiday treat. It's indoors. It's State Farm Field on some grass. So, I mean, I could see Bijan going bananas, and not only in the running game, but also the passing game. So, yeah, there you go. There's a little gift for you. It's not even, I don't even call that a stocking stuffer. That's like the big gift in the corner.
There you go. Right. That's the bicycle that you're going to have to assemble before you get to actually ride.
Yeah. Yeah. We definitely said Borg, Cyborg.
Oh man. And who's going to be our final Christmas present to bring you your fantasy championship? Look at that. It is our good buddy out there in LA, old Puka Nacua versus those Seahawks. Scott, man, this is the defense right here that you would not expect to be the one that's going to give you those championship points you need. What makes you think that Puka is going to run all over these guys?
Well, I mean, with Adams not being there, it's Thursday. I'm doing like a kind of like a long shot pick right here. You know, it's going to be Thursday night where the games are usually low. It's in Seattle. We don't know about the weather, but I mean, this guy just gets targeted and peppered like crazy. So, you know, I mean, why not?
Hey, why not? Right? It's Christmas.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see what week 17 has to offer, guys. At week 17, Brock Purdy is your man to get your ship. And this is ship week, guys. So this is the real important week right here. Brock Purdy versus the Colts. Another defense that you wouldn't expect to target in a real important week like this. Scott, why is it the Colts defense that you're going after right here?
If I remember, I think week 17, they're playing the Bears.
Oh, see, well, that makes a lot more sense.
Yes, they're at home against the Bears. So
that was a mistake by your old slide maker, Sean, over here. So, yeah, Brock Purdy versus the Bears, not the Colts. Brock Purdy versus the Bears. Scotty, why are you going after the Bears defense? They've been doing better lately.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say doing better, but this is going to be like a potential playoff matchup. So they're going to play this game like a playoff game, and the Niners will be at home. It's going to be on Sunday Night Football. We've said play Brock Purdy. He's trending. So, yeah, I think Brock Purdy is maybe more of like a stocking stuffer for you.
I mean, I guess. I think that Brock Purdy is going to be, like you said, I think he's going to be the stud. So, you know, anybody who looks like they could be the next Spider-Man in the next Spider-Man series, I'm always going to root for them. So, who's going to be your next guy, Scott, that hopefully I have the right team they're playing this time? It's Josh Jacobs versus the Ravens. Scotty, Josh Jacobs versus the Ravens. Why is he your running back to win you the ship in week 17?
Another situation. The Packers will be at home in the cold. I'm pretty sure that Christian Watson will be playing, but, you know, let's just say he's still a little banged up. You know, the Ravens defense not been very good this year. Probably want to try to keep Lamar off the field. Josh Jacobs had a really good year running the football. Like I said, I'm assuming the weather's going to be bad. So, yeah, let's see Josh Jacobs get in the box a couple times.
Yeah, I mean, the Ravens defense can't pitch a shutout 2 weeks in a row, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, who's the final guy that's going to get us a championship in week 17?
My favorite one right here.
Your favorite man, Amon-Ra St. Brown versus those Minnesota Vikings.
All right, this could be a game where it's winning in for the Lions. So playing in the Dome, no weather issues against the Vikings defense. Not worried about it when you got a guy that's going to get probably 12 to 13 targets a game. So yeah, Amon-Ra's been great this year. I have him on a bunch of teams. He's between him and Jahmyr Gibbs, they're the 1-2 punch in that offense. So yeah, I go ahead and slap him in your lineup. It's not like you're ever going to take him out of your lineup anyways, but yeah, I think Lions are going to be in a winning in situation that week, and they're going to have to lean on him.
Yeah, I mean, this is and guys, these guys are not meant to be guys that you were deciding on whether to put in or not. These are your studs that are going to win you the ship that you are definitely playing. So Amon-Ra is right smack at the top of that list. You're going to be playing him every week, and he's just been a super stud for you. So there's no reason not to think it won't continue. So, yeah, man, that definitely was and will be a very, very Merry Christmas for anybody out there who has any of those guys on their team. So what we're going to do here, guys, for our fourth down is we're going to roll right on into our long shot picks for Mr. Grimm. So if you guys are out there, get your keyboards ready, fire them up, make sure you have it handy because you need to help us pick our long shots for week 16. We did this last week, Cyborg. I know you were here for it. So if you guys weren't here for it, what we do is we have an account called the Grimm Kin. That's all of you guys listening to the show here. And we're picking long shots to try to win the long shots. Right now, Armin from FanCred is in the league at 80 points, and we are trying to catch him, which is why we are only picking tier 4 long shots. And as you can see, we have our guys listed here on the board, all ready set up as tier 4 boys. So we have, to start out, Aaron Rodgers, Marcus Mariota, Shedeur Sanders, Gardner Minshew, Phillip Rivers, and Cam Ward as our first group on the tier 4. If you guys see somebody that you like listed on this screen right now, type it in this and let us know so we can go ahead and put them in the lineup for us. Scott, when you look at this lineup right here, is there anybody that just screams out at you right out the gate?
For week 16, God. Let's see who Cam Ward's playing. You know what? I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say I'm going to stick
Ward
in
versus the Chiefs.
I'm going to go with Cam Ward. I like Cam Ward with a Mahomeless Chiefs team on the road that has missed the playoffs and probably packeting in.
I mean, I can understand why you would say that. I don't know if that defense is really going to be the one to target as much. And, I don't know, man. I think I like the idea of maybe going after A-Rod a little bit more if you're looking at a tier 4 quarterback, just because they're playing against Detroit, like you just said earlier. Their pass defense is nothing to write home about. Plus Aaron just had a good game. They're still, fighting to keep that division for themselves. So I think I would lean towards Aaron if I was the audience here and I was picking the quarterback. So
you're gonna play Aaron Rodgers in the Lions' den.
Yeah, man. I mean, against that horrible pass defense, you both your stud safeties are out, right? Branch has been out for a while, and you guys have just not looked the same back there since.
All right. Well, I don't know. No one said anything in chat.
Yeah, Cyborg. What are you gonna? If all right, Cyborg, I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys Aaron Rodgers if you don't do this with me because he is ahead of Cam on the list. So we'll give you guys a couple more minutes because I know Cyborg has an opinion on it. He's just probably cracking a beer or doing something like that right now and not sitting at his computer. But yeah, we'll definitely give it a minute on that one and see if he wants to change it up. Actually, we'll pick him now, but we can change it up if we need to in a minute. So we'll go ahead and stick with Aaron Rodgers for now, guys. If you decide you want to change that, you let us know. Kenneth Gainwell. So Jacory, Krosky, Merritt, Bill Merritt, however you want to say it, Blake Corum, Chuba Hubbard, Kareem Hunt, and Ramondre Stevenson are the top of our tier 4 on our running backs. So, being that we just went with Aaron, do we go ahead and double it down with Gainwell here and try to get those stack points to catch Armin? I mean, if they both have a day, I mean, that could be, one helps the other, scratching each other's backs kind of a deal. Do we go with Blake Corum, who's been getting more and more carries and doing a lot with them? Merritt, who could potentially be the RB1 with Rodriguez if he's not playing. I mean, there's a lot of options here, man. Chuba had another game where he showed up and showed that the reason why they signed him so much money in the offseason. So any one of these guys looks like they'd be a potential guy to take here. Is there anybody that stands out to you here, Scott? I mean, I think Gainwell is the one to me that's just staring me in the face. But is there one that you like better than Gainwell that's on this list?
Well, I can't believe Blake Corum is still in a 4. I mean, he's pretty much in a split. So yeah, I like Corum, and I even like Gainwell. I think Gainwell's the better back out of the two. I mean, he just looks more explosive in that offense. Catches the ball better, I think, than Warren, and they leaned on him in crucial situations in last night's game. So I'm good with either one, Corum or Gainwell. And if you want to pick Gainwell, I'm not gonna double down on Aaron Rodgers. I'm not gonna kill you over it because I think in that game against the Lions, if it does, the Lions are gonna score points. So that means the Steelers are going to have to play catch up. And if they're going to have to play catch up, that's when they usually have Gainwell in the game. And he had 7 receptions yesterday, which is just as good as what you're going to get from a regular wide receiver every week.
Yeah, no, you're right. And that's why I'm leaning towards Gainwell too. If we don't get an answer from Borg or anybody in the chat, I think that's the way we should go. Borg's saying that he's having a hard time figuring out how to get in here. And Borg, what you want to do is you want to go up here to the top. Right here, it's going to say FanCred in the top right. You're going to click that drop-down arrow right there, and you're going to move that over to Longshots, and that's where you're going to be able to find out where you're at, okay? So do that when you log into your FanCred account, and that's how you're going to get to your Longshots.
All right, he took Gainwell.
So Gainwell it is for the running back. So I like that idea, though, of in this situation right now where we're at with this Grimm Kin's picks, I think stacking it and hoping for both of them have going nuts. If one gets it, the other probably will. So I like the idea of doing that. So we're here in wide receiver realm now, and this is where things are going to start getting tricky. You got Jordan Addison, Keenan Allen, Troy Franklin, Jaden Higgins, Romeo Doubs, and Jerry Jeudy at the top of the list. I mean, the way that Jordan Addison, or the way that McCarthy played, Jordan Addison and them against the Giants, their defense looked horrible. I mean, that's a potential play. Jaden Higgins, even though he did nothing for us last week, he's playing Vegas this week. So that's some potential there. Franklin had a decent game. They're probably going to have to score some points if they're playing Jacksonville. So, I mean, every one of these guys, there's a reason that you could say to go for them over the other. Is there anybody standing out to you, Scott, that I mentioned there, or somebody that I didn't even bring up?
I am going to – this is called the long shots. So I'm going to go after somebody who is a team favorite, and he's been kind of quiet lately, and they're playing a porous Cowboy secondary, and I'm going to go with Keenan Allen.
I don't hate that. I don't hate that. The way things have been going, I don't hate that. Dallas has definitely given up a lot, so that would not be a bad decision to go that route. You guys are making the decisions here. This isn't our choice. This is you guys. So, that's definitely a good one if you want to go that route. I say any of the guys that we brought up really wouldn't be a bad choice for you. But if you got somebody else you like better, you guys feel free to holler it out, and we'll pick that guy instead.
So Vegas is projecting Keenan Allen to have 47 receiving yards and score 10.8 fantasy points, if that helps you out any. Plus 175 to get it in the box.
Yeah, I mean, I like Keenan too. I think more you talk about the fact that he's playing Dallas, I think it's better. Him or Addison would probably be my choice. So I'd probably lean that way. Let's see. You gave me Gainwell, or you gave me Rodgers, so I'll give you Allen on this one, since it doesn't seem like we've got an answer from the guys yet. So I'll go ahead and make an executive decision, and we're going to take Keenan Allen at the wide receiver spot.
All right.
And last but definitely not least, especially this week, we have our tight ends. TJ Hawkinson, Pat Freiermuth, Isaiah Likely, Dawson Knox, Chiga Okonkwo, and Cole Kmet are our top guys here. Is there, I'll let you start with the breakdowns on this games, Scotty. With, I have a guy that I think stands out to me at this point. I think it's probably going to be the same one you have, but you go ahead and tell me who it is, and we'll see if that's the case.
Well, let me ask you a question. Kincaid is still out, correct?
No. Kincaid played this week, and he should be GTG to go, and there was no issues with him, as far as I know.
All right. Well, that changes my decision, because I figured if he was out, we were going to go Knox for sure.
Yeah. No, but he was in the game as well, and Knox still had the day that he had. So, I mean, he was still out there playing, and Knox still getting targets. So I can't say that that's going to make as big of a difference as I thought it might.
Okay. So run those names real quick again.
You got TJ Hawkinson, Pat Freiermuth, Isaiah Likely, Dawson Knox, Chiga Okonkwo, and Cole Kmet.
God.
Yeah, Cyborg says Knox has been busy. Likely is a good option too. So he's leaning towards either of those two guys, he says.
God, I took Likely last week too, thinking, and he just didn't do anything for me. I don't know. You guys choose this one.
Well, I'll tell you who my guy is. I like TJ Hawkinson. I think he's been getting a lot more targets. Yeah. They're playing the Giants. I think that, the way that things are looking right now, they'll lean into targeting him to kind of get McCarthy going early on in the game. So I think I would lean TJ Hawkinson if it was myself. But again, it's not my pick. So Cyborg, he's got Knox and Likely in there as an option. Which we're gonna go ahead and we'll say go with Knox since that was the first one that he put in the board. And I'm not gonna say that's a bad choice. I mean, the way Knox has been playing lately, he definitely could end up coming out and taking all of the points away from my fantasy teams that have Dalton Kincaid starting, just like he did last week. So, all right. So that is our lineup for Week 16 for the Grimm Kin. You have Aaron Rodgers and Kenneth Gainwell, along with Keenan Allen and Dawson Knox. So let's hope that those guys kick some butt and we can catch Armin, because at this point in time, man, I mean, Armin, if we don't catch him now, it's going to be too little too late. The guy is killing it, sitting at the top of the board with 80 points.
Yeah, good luck with that. He's killing it.
Yeah, he really is. I mean, the guy's doing great. So that's going to be our show for you guys today. We really appreciate y'all being here. If you guys didn't hear earlier in the show, we are going to take off the next couple weeks for the holidays. We will not be going live over the next 2 weeks. We will be back for our show starting the first week of January with a live show. It's going to be Tuesday, but we are going to move it back to the 6 o'clock time frame because we had a lot of feedback after we moved it saying to go back. So now we're going to go back. So we're going to stick with the 6 o'clock time frame, make sure that everybody who can listen will be able to listen. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. We will be dropping a lot of stuff over the next 2 weeks just because we're not doing the live show. We are still going to be dropping hints and tidbits and things to help you through the next couple of weeks because these are the weeks that we all play for, getting that ship. So we want to help you as long the way as we can. You know, you can get hold of us at any point in time by reaching out to us on Sleeper at my name, Trader Clem, or Scott's name, Run the Hurry Up. You guys can find us there, and we are both also on Discord under the same names. Thank you guys so much for being here again. We look forward to seeing you guys soon. Have a happy Christmas and a Merry New Year. For Sudden Death Fantasy Sports, Scott, myself, we are out of here.